Hello guys, Mr. Max here with TSM Training. And so yesterday's video was about the difference between bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, and Olympic weightlifting. And somebody in the comment asked me my opinion on which one of this will be a healthier option for an amateur. And I thought this was a good question, so I wanted to make this video to reply to it. And the short answer is whichever one is going to keep you motivated, whichever one you're gonna love, and that's gonna keep you going to the gym and train. Because all those sports, like all sports, they do come with risk of injuries, and they do have some drawback, especially if you overdo it and stuff like that. But it's always those risks are always like much less than the risk of doing nothing. Because if you just sit on your couch, then you're gonna get fat, you're gonna get weak, you're gonna get a weak heart, and this is much worse. And you get like those lifestyle injury; those are real thing, and this is the least healthy option. And even if you get like the best sports you can think of, if you don't like it, and if you skip on your training, and if you stop going altogether, again you're back to the least healthy option. So that's the one thing to consider. First thing to consider, in my opinion, is whichever one is gonna keep you motivated, gonna keep you training, gonna keep you go to the gym. Now, if we want to talk about the specific of all those sports, Olympic weightlifting is the one I'm the least familiar with, to be honest. One source of potential injury I could see that is specific to that sport or come from there's a lot of dynamic movement, so then those can lead to a mistake, and that could lead to injuries. And you often have the bar over your head, which can be a danger in itself. But it's the one, like I said, I'm the least familiar with. Strongman can come with his own set of issues in the fact that, well, first, if you want to compete in strongman, because of the spectacle nature of the sports, since they have like those kind of weird and unusual discipline, if you want to compete in strongman or if you want to train in strongman, you often have to find a specialized gym, because if you want to train for those discipline, you would have to find a gym that have the proper equipment for that. But also another problem with strongman I can see in the training is that since you're often on the clock, those can lead to some potential injury as well. Because if you have to carry a weight as fast as you can, well, then you're going to be running. This can be a risk for a strained ankle and stuff like that, sprained ankle. Or if you need to do as many reps as you can in a short amount of time, this can also lead to some problem because you won't have time to reset properly between reps. You won't have time to focus on technique and on form as much as you should. So you're gonna do some reps with bad form. Those can lead to injuries. And same thing when you do like as many reps as you can. Those can also be potential injury because as you get tired, it's going to be harder to keep a proper form, and then again you're lifting with bad form, risk of injuries. Bodybuilding is usually pretty safe until you go into the you start competing and people tend to overdo it. Like there's the drug issue, but that's in every sport, maybe a little more present in that sport, but I'm not going to talk about that because that's your own decision to make. And then there's the diet issue. Bodybuilding is a good thing that's going to force you to watch your diet, but that's one thing also that people often overdo. You don't want to walk around with 4% body fat all the time. That's no good for you, and it's not great for the body either when those people bulk up and then try to cut weight and lean a lot and dehydrated themselves quickly before a competition. That's not great for the body either. But other than that, the training in itself is pretty standard. There's no big risk associated to it, as long as you're reasonable and you learn to listen to your body. In powerlifting, of course, I'm biased because that's the sport I come from, but I think it's a good sport for an amateur because you don't need any specialized equipment. You just need like a squat rack and a bench and bar and barbells and some weight. and every gym should have those. Like that's kind of pretty basic equipment. And it's also a sport that because when we go heavy, we focus on single rep. You can really focus on form and on technique, so that can reduce the risk of injury there. And we're also like not jumping around, not running, and anything like that. So there's no impact on the joint. Pretty easy on the body for that on that side. And in my experience, the community is pretty friendly. And if you live like anywhere, like a big city, you should be able to find competition once or twice a year if you do want to compete. But even if you don't want to compete, in powerlifting, you're always like really competing against yourself. And one thing I like about this sport is that it's very objective in your progress. You can really see, if you can lift a weight today that you couldn't lift a month or 2 months ago, well, you made some progress. You got stronger. So that's a good thing. That can be very motivating. But like I said in the first, like one thing I would say about powerlifting too, one drawback maybe, is that there's no incentive built in the sports to not get fat, basically. And people that you oftentimes see people bulking up, getting fat in that sport, because like even if you compete, well, or maybe you're gonna be like a pushed up one weight category, you're gonna be like in 275 instead of 240. Usually that's no big deal, and especially in the amateur category, if you're not like high level and stuff like that. When you go like in a higher level of competition, then you do have to watch your weight, because then that becomes a factor in the equation for to see who's the best lifter and stuff like that. But if you're just amateur and you're just like competing against yourself, against your past self, then usually it's not something that people consider. So that's something you have to do on your own, that the sport is not gonna push you into by itself. But like I said in the beginning, the important thing is to find something that is gonna keep you motivated, that's gonna keep you lifting, that's gonna keep you training, and then you're gonna stick with. That's the healthier option. So I hope this answer helped, and that you find it useful. If you have other questions, other comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you around. Take care. Have a good day.